Hey, what's going on, team? It's Ricky with Tactical Solutions. Hope that you guys are all having an amazing day. I'm going to give it a couple of seconds so everyone can start tuning on in. For those that are tuning in for the first time, what's going on, guys? My name is Ricky. Again, we run the largest YouTube channel and the largest private Facebook group for those that day trade in the stock market. If you guys want to join our Facebook group and like what you see on YouTube but want to stay a little bit more connected, that's going to be that first link down below, and of course it is free. So I really hope that we earn your thumbs up throughout this video. Again, none of the stocks that we talk about within this video are in any way any stock suggestions. You should never trade based off other people's opinion. All we're here to do is every single Sunday, since the market is open Monday through Friday, is we come together the day before the market opens, and I simply break down the stocks that the people that tune on in see value in. So this is just where we get to share ideas and get other people's opinion. It's just that. But I think that, it's really cool to be able to come together the day before the market opens so we can kind of collect our thoughts, think about where the market is heading, so we're a little bit more prepared and warmed up, right, for overall market conditions in the morning. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. All I ask you is, if you would like me to break down your stock that you see value in, is to post it in the ticker call out format. So if you need help understanding what that ticker call out format is, then just be sure to go ahead and it should be posted right now, so you guys should have a little bit of a better understanding of what that ticker call out format is. So here it goes. I'm gonna give it a couple of seconds. So we already have people sharing their stock, but not necessarily in the ticker call out format. So let's see. What's going on, Nicholas? There we go. TechBuds Garage is posting it. So this is what we mean by the ticker call out format. We just ask you for the ticker symbol, support and resistance, desired entry points, sell points, or again, where you plan to buy and sell, why you see potential in it, and stuff like that. So I just want to make sure that you've dedicated time to already see value in this, and this is not something where you're just asking for my help or my own advice and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to say what's up to a couple of people that we have going on here. If you guys are tuning in for the first time, don't be afraid to say hello. So is the market price in the between the ask and the print? It can be, yeah. So Anthony, it's usually between the ask and the bid. Normally, if you go ahead and try to buy right at market price, it will normally try to fill you closer to at market or closer to the overall ask, right? Depending on how the volume is and stuff like that. So it really depends on what it is that you trade, what type of volume it has, and if there's not enough volume, then it will automatically fill you closer to the ask, if anything. So let's go ahead and get started, and I'm gonna just start breaking down. I plan to break down about 10 stocks throughout this live stream, and we can keep it short and sweet. So I don't know if you guys, quick little update, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to natural gas, but I made a video about it maybe 2 days ago, and one of the things that I talked about, I don't know if you guys remember, is that natural gas was kind of consolidating in between 2.12 and 2.18. I talked about it in the 2.16, 2.18 range to be a resistance. And I said that we made new highs, and as it pulls back, look where it's finding a support, right around 2.18. So again, old resistance levels are looking like it's becoming a new support level. So if we do continue this, then that would look very promising for natural gas, as we're now beginning to show signs of higher lows. But again, it's still super early. The overall futures market just opened. So if it holds down here, you gas will open up in the red, and then D gas will open up in the green. But again, anything can happen. We still have we still have over 12 hours until the market opens, so anything can really happen. It could continue to sell off, or it could really begin to push up and come back to 2.20, which is really where it was at on Sunday before the close, on Friday before the close. Sorry about that. So let's go ahead. What's going on, Nish? Thank you again for tuning on in. So I'm gonna break this one down since it was posted in the ticker call out format. What's going on, Stacy? Welcome. So we got WDO. So WDO, here we go. It doesn't look like that is did I type that incorrectly? No, WDO. Yep, it doesn't look like that ticker is something that is made available, at least not on TOS. So I'm gonna have to skip on that and move on from there. So here it goes. Okay, I'm a little confused by that ticker symbol. So WDO, let's see, WDOFF. Okay, that one did pop up. So one of the things I can show right away is that it has super low volume. That's not something that I would personally want to trade. With low volume comes really high volatility. If there's a big buyer, if there's a big seller, there could be a big fluctuation of price movement. So because of that, it kind of comes at a high risk, high reward. This thing's borderline a penny stock, right? So it is showing signs of an uptrend. I like how you're paying attention to that. I just, with the dollar amount that I trade with, I would not feel comfortable trading this. It does look like it has been making higher highs and higher lows. One of the things that we do want to point out is that it did break highs of 208, right? So then it pulled back. It looks like with the MACD and the RSI, it's trying to consolidate. It's trying to find a support. So we expect it to be in the almost like, in this point of a potential reversal. Now we need to wait for higher highs. If you get that confirmation, then you can begin to revisit this and see if it's something that actually, right, is beginning to show signs of an uptrend. So I'd be very careful with this, as it does have a lot of margin to pull back. So don't just always think that, again, because it's done it before, it has to do it again. Again, it's the simple idea that patterns tend to repeat themselves, but they don't have to, right? So let me go ahead and break down the next one. So let's go ahead and see. So BLCM. Here we go, BLCM. So this is a pharmaceutical. I'm not big on those, right? So it's trading at $1.66. So not something that I would personally focus on, but it looks like its previous direction was aggressively selling off. It found a support right around 75 cents. It began to indicate signs of an uptrend. It's been making these higher highs and higher lows, which is great. It looks like it just had a pretty solid day on Friday, a 17% day. One of the things that I do want to point out, again, you guys know that I'm always here just to share my opinion. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it did have a really strong day on Friday, and normally after it has a really strong day, it either hits a resistance or begins to consolidate and then begins to pull back. Look at the MACD, look at the RSI, and just look at previous patterns, asking yourself the simple question, is this a good deal? Of course, the current direction is in your favor for like the past month, but is it a good deal? Is it showing signs that you could buy it right now and potentially sell it for a profit? Or does it make more sense that it's going to hit a resistance here and then begin to pull back? So you can kind of decide and have a better understanding of, hey, maybe I should wait for a pullback and see if it finds a support. As when it pulls back, it can consolidate and then it begins to rally again. So maybe you caught it a little bit too late. Don't think every single time that it has to happen. So here we go. Let's go ahead and move on to the, looks like it was timed out. So we got Aiden. This is ticker symbol AIMT. So let me go ahead and break that down for you. I appreciate you posting it in the ticker call out format. It really lets me know that you took time out of your day to break down this stock, which is great, right? If you can't help yourself, then how do you expect others to help you? Which I'm not saying that I'm doing anything special. I'm just saying that I think it's great seeing such motivated people take initiative and dedicate time to break down the stocks and plan out the stocks that they see value in. So what do you guys think about AIMT? One of the things that I can pull up right away is that it's a pharmaceutical, so I'm not a huge fan of those just from my experience. Volume is actually not too bad. So the 5-day, 5-minute chart, it looks like it's been pulling back quite some bit. So maybe this is why it's been brought to my attention. So $31 support, desired, okay. So I definitely see why you're calling it out. The RSI and the MACD are oversold, right? Meaning that it sold off quite a bit after it hit a resistance at 35.60. So based off of recent previous patterns, the SMA line tends to act as a support, right? Meaning that it sells off, it holds above the SMA line, and then it finds a support, and then it continues to rally. So this is kind of what we're expecting, right? So if we're so certain that this is going to be a support, I would be very careful as we're still below the EMA line. So I would set my alert there, and this is something that I would really watch my position size on. And as it continues to increase in value, if that actually happens, then I would slowly add more to my position size. Until that confirmation, I wouldn't really touch it because, again, we don't know if this is in the very early stages of it potentially continuing to sell off. So again, I like to kind of play devil's advocate when it comes down to you see value in something, and I think that's great. I agree with you. I just want to set you, I just want to at least bring out maybe what not everyone is talking about, and that's maybe the risk involved, right? So I'm going to set my alert for both this for 34 as well, and then also if it again has the potential to go up, it has the potential to go down. So if it begins to make lower lows and actually begins to break below the SMA line, I'm just going to set my alerts, right? As long as we're not currently invested in that position, then we have nothing to worry about, because even if it does sell off more, then great. As long as we hold above the SMA line and we're not in a position, that's more margin for potential recovery. So let's think about it, let's stay patient, and let's stay selective. So What's going on, Frank? I appreciate you tuning on in. So we got ticker symbol A. That's American Airlines, right? Allegiant Technologies. Wow. Oh no, AA is American Airlines. My bad. So I definitely see why it is that you're bringing this one up. So desired entry is 86. Let's see. Okay. So you're expecting it to pull back a little bit more is what I'm guessing. So we could see that it recently just hit highs, right? So this is almost in the very early stages of what a pullback could look like, right? So when it comes down to the potential that we saw with AIMT, it already not only hit a resistance, but it pulled back. Now it's oversold, right? Now with ticker symbol A, it's barely in the first stages of pulling back. I still think, and I do agree with you, that it does have potential to pull back. And as it becomes oversold, and as it becomes a little bit more on the good deal side, then we can begin to revisit ticker symbol A and see if it actually finds its support like it does when it pulls back. See if it actually begins to indicate signs of an uptrend, and then add more to our position size as it uptrends. So I'm going to set my alert for this thing to continue to make lower lows, and the more it sells off, as long as we hold above the SMA line, we're still staying true to the pattern, and the more patient that you stay, the more margin of profit you can build for yourself for the potential reversal, right? Let's go ahead and break down Tesla. Ooh, I like that one. A lot of people have been talking about Tesla. I think it received a lot of, I don't want to say backlash. You guys know that. I mean, I love everything that Elon is doing, but I think there's a lot of negative comments about its valuation and how it hit $500 per share. Its valuation was more or twice as much as Ford, which has been it's like the one that started everything, right? When it comes down to the mass production automobile, and I think that's what really. It, no question, was overbought, overextended. It hit a resistance at 500. It began to pull back. And right now, we're right around that EMA line. We don't know if we're going to find a support here. So I would stay very patient. If we do begin to indicate signs of an uptrend, and if you think that from where we're at right now to 500, that margin of profit is attractive enough that you want to trade it, then okay, so be it. But one of the things that I would love to share with you guys is that, again, it has a lot of margin to pull back. So if you're going into it as an investor, if you're going into it as a trader, I just want you to explore both sides. Of course, it would be great if it does continue to rally. And if we get that confirmation of that direction, so I could simply set my alert, if we get that confirmation, then we can revisit Tesla and then consider it as a potential trade or as a potential investment, depending on your edge, right? But be honest with yourself, right? Does it make sense that it has margin to give back? I know we have a lot of, Elon supporters that watch our videos, and I think that's great. But I think removing all emotions aside, even myself, right? Someone that really hopes that Tesla continues to take on this market is, I need to be realistic with myself, and even just on the technical side, right? I'm not even talking about the fundamental side. This thing is due for a pullback. I think that we can all agree on that it is overbought, it is overextended. It has pulled back from time to time, but I think it's due for a pretty solid pullback, unless, again, that direction does end up confirming and you see that opportunity cost to be worth it, then I can see both sides. So again, I just want you to explore unopinionated both sides and see which one best fits your needs. I think if you approach it with that open mindset, that's what would be at least just more reassurance behind your trade. So all right, here we go. So we got, all right, so I broke down Tesla for you. Yeah, what's going on, Ryan? So APPS. Okay, so what do you guys, I want to get your guys' input on this. Even if you're tuning in for the first time, what's going on, Hunter? So CVNA, I'll break that one down next. So what do you guys think about APPS? So I want to get your guys' input on this one. So the SMA line, this thing was showing signs of an uptrend. What recently began to happen that doesn't normally happen? So again, we were holding above the SMA line. We were making higher highs. What, again, normally, with its pattern happens that isn't happening right now? So can any of you guys point it out? So it's downtrending. Downtrend, no bueno. I see no clear direction. I like that, Adrian. Below the SMA line. So I just want to bring up, because I think that a lot of people can potentially see that, okay, it's been below the SMA line, and I do agree with that it has potential to recover. I'm just going to break this one down like this. Normally, when it begins to show signs of an uptrend, it trades above the SMA line. So I'm going to set my alert above the SMA line, and until then, I just do not want to put my money into something that has been selling off and that is now trading below the SMA line, which can now continue to aggressively sell off because it has a lot of margin to get back from what it's gained. So because of that, I do see the opportunity if it actually begins to trade above the SMA line. Until then, I would not want to touch APPS, and the reason why is that now that we're trading below the SMA line, it can act as a resistance, as old support levels do become or can become new resistance levels. So it has traded below the SMA line, but again, it broke back above it and then it continued to rally. It pushed up, it pulled back, and then found a support at the SMA line and then continued to rally once again. So I think it has a lot to prove before I would consider this a potential trade or investment. So, but I really appreciate you sharing this one. So I think I said I was going to break one down for Hunter. Hunter, where you at? I think it was like, here we go, CVNA. So I appreciate you waiting so patiently. Here we go, CVNA. Ooh, okay. What do you guys think about Carvana? Not just the company itself. What do you think about the stock? I want to get you guys' input. I think its business model, I don't know if you guys have seen. I mean, we just recently opened up a car dealership here in the Arizona area, and Carvana has an unreal business model. Needs confirmation. I like that. So I like that, that we could identify a pattern. Needs confirmation. Let's see. Of course, Ryan. Of course. All right, hits the SMA line, might dip below and then recover. Okay, I like that. Sweet. So one of the things that I'm seeing here is that we have been making higher highs. We have been showing signs of an uptrend, but recently, at least for the past 15 days, it hit a resistance, the same high that it hit before, and it's been making lower lows and lower highs. So I don't want to put my money in something that is continuously selling off. We are approaching a potential support range, right? So therefore, what has it been doing that we no longer want it to do? It's been getting rejected by the EMA line. It's been making lower highs, lower lows. So therefore, I'm going to simply set my alert for the break above 90. After it breaks above 90, if it actually happens, then again, looking at previous resistance levels, it has some margin to recover, right? Nearly 10%. So therefore, if it does break above 90, I can revisit CVNA and see if it's something that I want to trade, right? I can revisit it when it's not selling off and when the action is actually happening. So until then, I'm going to set my alert for the break below 85. And if it continues to sell off, then again, the great thing about trading is that you get to decide where you put your money. No one else should tell you what you should trade, where you should invest, right? You are the sole decision maker on that choice. And if you don't feel like you are ready, then again, that's the beautiful part about practice. You can do simulation trading. You can do trading on demand. There's so many ways how you can gain experience without putting any money at risk. And if you're someone that's just getting started, I would highly encourage you to explore that potential route, right? So I'm going to also set my alert for the break above 95. I think it's going to be very interesting just to even follow up with Carvana. If you're someone that is interested in the stock market and you like, kind of the company itself and what it has going on and how oversold it is, then just to revisit this, it's not even that you have to trade it. It's like, have fun with it, right? Have fun, enjoy the process, and see if it does what you expect it to do, right? What you write down on a piece of paper, and then you simply follow up with it. If you put $100, what would it have turned into, right? Just that simple idea of following up with it. So I think that's a great way to approach it, especially when you're just getting started. So, Ricky, would you buy a car from Carvana? Well, we have our own dealership now, right? So it wouldn't be in my best interest to buy one from them. But I could appreciate and respect any business model, right? And I think that what they're doing and how they paved their way for kind of an online, almost brokerage when it comes down to these cars is super inspiring for any person that owns any form of like auto dealership, right? So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So we got, what's going on, Philip? Got ticker symbol AG. Got Philip in the house. I like that. So ticker symbol AG, very similar pattern to Carvana, right? We were showing signs of an uptrend. It again aggressively sold off after making new highs. Guess what we're doing now? There's 3 stages of a reversal, right? Rejection, consolidation, and if we get it, right, when we begin to make higher highs, confirmation. And oversold, we could see that with the RSI, with the MACD. But again, let's be honest. How many times have we relied on those indicators and they let us down? Enough times that I'm not going to be here to depend on those indicators. I think indicators are great to use as a reference, to scan, to use as study and scan filters, or when it comes down to your technical analysis, to, again, use as a reference. But when it comes down to actually taking a trade, like we've said so many times before, you never want to rely solely on an indicator. I'm a big believer on direction. If something is increasing in value and continuously showing signs of that, in a sense, pattern, then again, I'm going to feel more comfortable and confident to put my money at it as long as it still has upside margin, right? So I'm going to set my alert here for the break above the EMA line, and I'm going to do it at around 1150. I want to revisit that and see if it actually begins to continue to uptrend. There is no question that it has sold off quite a bit, and that margin is right about 10% from previous highs. So if it does fully recover close to previous highs, that's about 10%. So this is where you ask yourself, what do I need to wait for confirmation? Where do I enter? Where do I start adding more to my position size? Where do I sell? Where do I cut losses, right? All these things are something that you have to think about, not just about best case scenario, but also about worst case scenario. And that's where that risk management comes in line. So we have a lot of you guys sharing your top stock. I'm going to try my best. So it looks like I'm going to have to do a little bit more than just 10 stocks. But let's go ahead and get to it. I always like a challenge, right? So here we go. So ticker symbol OXY. I'm going to have to go through these a little bit quicker. OXY. Okay, so it was showing signs of a downtrend. It began to push up recently, right? One of the things that we want to bring up is that, again, what goes up must come down, right? There is no question that it's overbought, overextended. It has been showing signs of an uptrend, but would it come at much of a surprise, right? Would it come as much of a surprise if it begins to pull back? Not so much. So if it stays true to its uptrend pattern and holds above this EMA line, then great. Go with the flow. The trend is your friend, right? As they say. But if it begins to indicate signs of a reversal or it begins to sell off, please don't hesitate to manage your risk, right? There is no question that this is not a good deal. This is not a good buy. It's you kind of go in with the flow if you continue to want to trade it. All I'm saying is it wouldn't be much of a surprise if it does begin to pull back. So again, make sure that you have that form of risk management in place, especially if you already have an open position. So we got ticker symbol AMD. So I appreciate you posting it again in the ticker call out format. So AMD, higher highs, higher lows, no question about it. AMD has been absolutely killing it. Are we trading AMD because it's a good deal? Are we trading AMD because it's a good buy? No. The reason people are trading it right now most likely is either they're long-term investors, right? Or they like the way that it's continuously making higher highs. They like the pattern, they like the trend, they like the direction. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, if it breaks that direction, if it breaks that pattern, make sure you are not someone that hesitates to manage their risk, right? So take that into consideration before taking this position, as in right now, the trend is your friend, but once it's broken, again, this is something that you definitely want to stay true to. So I do agree that it is a little bit more on the oversold side as it has been pushing up. It just made new highs are at around 50, or 49.96, and it pulled back. So one of the things that I always try to take into consideration is the margin of profit worth it? That's something that you have to take into consideration. I would take this day by day. I think that this is overbought enough that I wouldn't really want to consider it as a swing trade. That's just me. I think as things become more overbought, which means like no longer a good deal, but continue to uptrend. Again, this is just me in my opinion, but I become less confident that it's going to hold for a very long period of time. Like we've said, what goes up must come down, right? And it's only a matter of time for this thing to begin to pull back. So because of that, if I can identify, and AMD continues to uptrend and I can identify that direction and it's in my favor within the day and I can day trade it, then great, so be it, right? But it doesn't mean that I have to hold something overnight. I understand that not everyone is or can get around the PDT rule. A lot of people are still under it, but just please don't be a hopeful trader. Just make sure that you have some form of a reason behind your trade. So let's go ahead and move on to JPM. What's going on, Jay? So we got JPM. So this should be JP Morgan. Okay, so went through earnings. Looks like it had a huge push, right? It hasn't even gone through earnings. It went through dividends. And one of the things that I can see right away is that it has not been making higher highs necessarily, at least not for the past week. If anything, it's been pulling back. It looks like its earnings are on the 14th. So that's this week. I personally don't like holding during earnings. That means that I don't, benefit. nor do I take a loss during these earnings, right? Just because I don't want to, it's kind of like these natural gas reports. I don't like to trade during the report. I like to trade shortly after. When things become a little bit more cool, calm, and collected. So maybe during the recovery. But as of right now, JP has been selling off. If it stays true to the SMA line, then yeah, we can see a bounce. I would just be very, very careful in watching this, and then I would be careful with the reaction. So if there's an overreaction and it aggressively sells off, then again, guess what? By you not being in that position already, it allows you to benefit from the potential reversal, right? From it recovering when it finds a support and stuff like that. So I would be interested to follow up with this if it actually begins to sell off, and if it actually begins to indicate signs of an uptrend, then we can revisit JP when it's actually showing signs of an uptrend and kind of go from there. So, all right, I'm gonna have to close this live stream out pretty soon. So here we go. Everyone give a thumbs up right now. I appreciate that, Ali. Thank you, thank you. F-E-Y-E. All right, so F-E-Y-E, and then I saw another one right here. You were patiently, okay, so I-N-T-C. I'll break that one down for you next. So F-E-Y-E has been showing signs of an uptrend, made new highs, pulled back, again, approaching this SMA line. Pretty standard potential reversal. Oversold, right, with the RSI and the MACD, but again, we have no confirmation. We just, again, want to make sure that we don't put our money in something that's selling off. Very, very simple, right, approach. If it breaks below the SMA line, that's a breakup pattern. That's where I would consider managing my risk and really cut losses, right? I would really watch my position size as it begins to uptrend. And once we have that full confirmation and we're fully uptrending just like we have before, then that's when I would, again, feel more comfortable and confident behind that trade. And then as we approach a resistance, then that's when I would begin to lock in profit. So I really like the breakdown on, or the opportunity on FEYE. I think we just need to wait for that confirmation if I'm not mistaken. So here we go, INTC. So Intel, showing signs of an uptrend, but again, one of the things that I want to revisit is that it does have an up and coming earnings. So this is on 1/23, so January 23. And one of the things that I also want to bring up is that it's been doing a lot of consolidation. So yes, it is uptrending, but it's not aggressively pushing up where I feel like I'm missing out on anything. Again, I don't know about you guys, but I'm here to invest in good deals. I'm here to invest and put my money, or at least trade, right? Put my money behind something that I think is worth my time and my effort. I just don't think the movement that Intel is experiencing right now is worth my time or my effort. It doesn't move enough, and it hasn't been uptrending enough for me to find it attractive enough. So I like the direction, I like the pattern. I just don't see the margin or the opportunity cost to be that worth it. This is 100% my opinion, but it's consolidating so much that I almost feel like it's not going really anywhere. And the 1 or 2% that it covers within, 3 days is not something that I find, in my opinion, to be worth it. So because of that, I still have my alert at the break above, 61, but I'm also going to set my break below 58 because I honestly, it's been consolidating for quite some time that I think that it can be due for potential pullback. So we'll have to wait out on that. So let's go ahead and break down one more, and then we can go from there. Let's see, so BZH. What's going on, Christian? I appreciate you being so patient with me. I know this probably took some time for me to get to you, so I really do appreciate you staying patient with me. Overall, has been showing signs of an uptrend. One of the things that I do want to bring up is that, again, the SMA line, which used to act as a support, as we break below the SMA line, again, look at the RSI, look at the MACD, it can act as a resistance. The SMA line, again, old support levels can act as new resistance levels. We're becoming overbought, we're becoming overextended, and it wouldn't be much of a surprise if we, again, begin to sell off. If we begin to sell off or get rejected from around this general area. So I would follow up with this if it actually begins to break above 15, and if not, and it actually begins to sell off, then at least you held back and you didn't enter a position as it was a little bit more on the overbought side. I would just hate for you to get in on something when it's at a potential resistance and then it end up just getting rejected, right? Let's stay patient, let's stay cool, calm, and collected, and if that direction or opportunity presents itself and we break above the SMA line again, then cool. Maybe 16 is something that we can revisit again, but until then, I think we're too close to a potential resistance that it just wouldn't be worth the risk, at least in my eyes. So yeah, HD. All right, cool. I'll do it for you. Here we go. HD. So where'd it go? Home Depot, right? Here we go. Showing signs of an uptrend, has been selling off. And again, it's the same thing with this. It is pushing up, but again, this SMA line is a little bit more on the overbought side, a little bit more on the overextended side. Look at the MACD, look at the RSI, and I think it's in the very early stages, again, of this thing potentially pulling back. I could be 100% wrong, and I would set my alert for just that. So if that direction ends up presenting itself and it begins to actually indicate signs of an uptrend, then again, so be it, that you can revisit this. But until then, just understand that it's hitting a resistance right now, and based off of these indicators and based off of recent patterns, it wouldn't be much of a surprise if it begins to pull back. So just watch your position size. So yeah, that's really just it. We had quite a bit of people that have been asking about FSell, and I just don't like being, you guys know that I'm all about sharing my opinion, right? There's just so many people. I don't know what stock it was again. What was it? It was like Sava or something like that, right? So it did do well on Friday, but I think it was on like Wednesday or Tuesday where it pushed up and then just aggressively sold off. I think there was another one. I don't know if it was FSell. It might have been FSell, where it has been pumping, it has been pushing up. One of the things that I want to remind you is that these pump and dumps, regardless of how people love to say that there's like great news behind them and stuff like that, the way that they move, I'm not here to say that you can't make money on penny stocks. I'm a big believer that, you know, you could ask anyone. You can literally make money off of anything. That's besides the point, right? The idea behind, I think, a trade is, a lot of us have the capability of being able to run, right? But does that mean that we're going to invest money into ourselves to try to race Usain Bolt? No, it just doesn't make sense, right? It's just, I'm a complete beginner, like let's say runner. Although I might think I'm fast, I'm nowhere compared to Usain Bolt, right? I'm just not there yet. I haven't put any effort. Haven't put any time. I haven't gained the experience, in my opinion, to be able to race him, right? So with that being said, I think that, with pump and dumps, yeah, you can make money. But as a beginner trader, if that falls under your category, if you're someone that's just getting started and all these pump and dumps are being thrown your way, just understand that I think it's very important for you to understand every trade that you take, because one of two things will happen. You will either learn from it or you will make a profit from it. And I think both are great takeaways. But the thing that I would really try to avoid, if I was someone that was just getting started again, is the idea that when people try to tell you what to do and you do it and things begin to go south, you just feel like you got robbed. And the reason why is because you have no understanding of what just happened. And that's what I want to avoid. Those are mistakes that are not worth learning from. I think mistakes, as you put yourself in a position where you have some form of plan and preparation, where you have some form of risk management, when you have an idea behind what you're doing, then great. But if you're asking the question, where should I buy? Where should I sell? Where should I cut losses? Those are not questions you want to be asking when you're in a position, right? Like when you have money invested in a position, that just doesn't make sense to me. And all I'm here to remind you, again, I'm not here to ever tell you what to trade. I'm a big believer that you should learn from your mistakes. All I want to empower you to do is to have a reason behind every action that you take. So behind a reason, you have to be informed enough to have a reason behind something, right? So if you put on your shoes, there's a reason most likely behind that, right? It's probably because you're about to go outside or you're going to step on a dirty floor, right? So there's a reason behind that. If you're about to take a trade, ask yourself 3 simple questions. Do I know where I'm buying? Do I know where I'm selling? And do I know where I'm going to cut losses? If you can answer those 3 questions, I think you'll at least be better off than 90% of people that just hope for the best. We're not here to be hopeful traders. We're here to, have a reason behind everything that we do. So you could either learn from it or you can make a profit from it. And again, I think both are great takeaways. So I really do appreciate you guys' time. I really hope that I earned your thumbs up in this video. Friendly little reminder that, again, if you guys enjoyed what it is that you guys saw and you guys would like to stay connected, we do run the largest Facebook group in the world for those that day trade in the stock market, and that's going to be that first link down below. I believe you've heard me talk about them before. Again, tomorrow I'm going to be trading live with the Learn Plan Profit group, meaning that they get to see where I buy, where I sell, and why I take my positions. And if you would like to experience that, click the second link down below, learn a little bit more about the Learn Plan Profit group, and see if it's a good fit for you. Again, you can take a lot of the videos that I've uploaded on YouTube, get a taste of my trading style, and if you would like to work with me on a closer basis, then the Learn Plan Profit Group is the only way to do so. I really do appreciate you guys' time. Thank you guys for spending 37 minutes with me. I really hope, again, that I earned your thumbs up. If there's anything that I can do that you think that can be of better service for you, I am one message away. Do not message me on Facebook. Do not message me on Instagram. Do not message me on Twitter or anywhere. Message me, direct message me on Discord. And again, once you join our Facebook group, you're going to have access to our Discord channel as well. And I would love to answer any questions that you have. But again, only on Discord. There's so many fake Instagram. There's so many fake Facebook accounts. There's so many fake Twitter accounts. I want to make sure that I answer your question. And again, the best way for me to do that is through Discord. So thank you guys again for everything that you do. Like always, continue working hard, continue following dreams, let your passion be a drive to success. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.